Welcome to the Skin Philosophy Edit with your host, myself, Annalouise Kenny. I'm here to bring to you the knowledge and skills to level up your business. We are speaking to industry experts across the industry to make sure that you're getting your knowledge in skincare, equipment, ingredients, and everything else you need to make sure you have the best of your business. Hi, and welcome back to the Skin Philosophy Edit with myself, Annalouise, and today we have Charlene from Image Skincare. She is the main educator down south for all the clinics that are down south that have Image. And myself and Charlene actually know each other from a good few years ago, so you've been in the industry a while.
Yes, it's been quite a while now, about 18 years or so, I think.
So talk me through from the start. How did you get into the industry, or what made you get into the industry?
So I don't know how it really started, but at school I wasn't very good at school. I really struggled with school. I thought I'd go on and do hair and beauty, but I really loved biology. So I spoke to my teacher at the time and said, do you know, I'd really love to do biology as A-level, and he completely shut me down.
Really?
And he said, no, I don't think you really need to do that. I think you'll find it really hard. I think you'll struggle with it. It's probably not really for you.
I was about to say it.
I know. So I, being very timid back then, very quiet, was like, oh, okay, I won't do it then. So I didn't do it, which is fine because it led me on a different path. But then I went to college, I did my qualification. I absolutely loved it. I loved being at college. I loved focusing on something that I then realised I was really good at, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the learning. So in my career, I've done quite a few different jobs. I've worked in spas, in salons, in clinics. I've been working for events. I've worked with some incredible skincare companies. And then I've been a business development manager, which is what I started as at Image Skincare. And then there was a job opening for an educator. And a few people said to me, why don't you go for that? And I thought, I don't know. But I loved teaching. I loved really helping people to feel empowered by giving them more knowledge. So then we spoke about it, and then I actually went for the education role, then qualified as an educator and set up the whole of the education for the UK for Image Skincare. Right. So that was 7 years ago now, and I still absolutely love it. I am obsessed with teaching and training and educating, and I never, ever want anybody to feel the way that teacher made me feel all those years ago. So anyone who comes on my class, I really want them to leave feeling empowered, feeling excited about Image Skincare, but also about skin, because if they don't understand skin, then you can't sell a product, you can't use a product correctly or give the right advice. So it really goes as a whole package for me, and that's how I got into education.
So Image Skincare. Now I know it from 2008 because we came into Ireland.
Yes.
Literally, it wasn't in Ireland at all. And I was working for a chain of clinics that's over there that a lot of people know. And we met with a PR brand that was saying about this skincare that was coming into Ireland. Then this chain of clinics took Image Skincare on. And obviously it was massive in Ireland for years. But it's only starting to make its way in the UK at the moment. So tell me about Image Skincare and what you love about it and how it's doing in the UK at the moment.
So I've been with Image for 8 years, and 7 of those years has been education. And I've really seen that shift with it as well. So when I first started, like you say, not many people knew about it, but now the more people that try it, the more people are seeing the results. And then that's really what spreads the word about it as well. If somebody has a treatment, they are guaranteed to leave glowing. And I think more and more people are seeing the results for themselves, whether they are just using the home care or having a professional treatment. But also, I think the level of education people are getting makes them really excited, and then it makes them want to talk to their clients more about it. It makes them really want to carry out those treatments and enjoy doing the treatments as well. It's not just you have to do this, this, this. It's very bespoke. Everything is very customised. And I think that's what the people who we work with, we call them our partners, really enjoy using the products for that reason, because it is so bespoke. And I think that's what's just given Image a really good reputation within the industry. And now more and more people are becoming aware of it and taking it on.
And so Image Skincare emphasizes the use of advanced ingredients. Can you highlight some of the key ingredients in the products?
Yeah, of course. So I think really the way that Image began, the founder Jana, she was suffering with rosacea and she was trying to find something that would work for her own skin. And she came across this soluble vitamin C, the tetrahydrodecyl ascorbate. And normally people shy away from using vitamin C for a rosacea skin, but when it's oil soluble, your skin can actually absorb it rather than just having it sit on the surface of the skin, which sometimes can lead to some irritation. So Image all began with vitamin C, and that still is our number one best-selling product, is our Vital C anti-aging serum. Anyone who tries that absolutely loves it. When I first started at Image, I was adamant that I didn't want to try it because I hadn't got on with vitamin C previously. And I thought, no, I don't want to try it. But they were like, you have to try it. It's our number one bestseller. You have to use it. Used it, absolutely fell in love with it. And I thought, this is going to be the brand for me. My skin just really gets on well with Image. And for me as well, I used to suffer with acne. When I moved to Image, I was still getting regular breakouts, but they weren't as bad, but I had a lot of scarring. So for my own skin, and the journey I've been on with my skin has been so dramatic, but using the retinols, they're all encapsulated, so they get delivered deeper into the skin without causing that irritation. But then also what we're seeing with retinol across the whole of the industry is people are overdoing retinol. It's then affecting their barrier function, their hydration levels, and probably ending up with the adverse reactions that they actually want from retinol. So we have got a new collection called the Biome Plus collection. And this is all about supporting the microbiome of the skin, really nurturing the skin, hydrating the skin. Because if the skin's not hydrated, nothing will work very well. So it is all about nurturing the skin as well, not just using all the really active ingredients. It really is about looking after the skin and really looking what's going on the skin, and on a monthly basis as well, because we know, especially with women, our skin can fluctuate so much. So really changing up your ingredients, but with consumers, making sure they speak to a professional about their skin if they've got a concern, because so many people now with TikTok and Instagram, they're self-prescribing and then maybe it's not right for them. So really speaking to a professional so they can actually get the right advice that's going to work for their skin.
Yeah, exactly. How do you ensure that skincare professionals are well informed and skilled during the training? With your training, how do you incorporate that? How do you make sure that they are leaving hyped up?
Absolutely. And I think that definitely starts with a passion. I don't think when you're educating, you can just educate on if you aren't really passionate about it. I had someone ask me the other day, do you still enjoy educating? And I was like, I love it, but I couldn't do it if I didn't love Image Skincare. So I always am educating myself. I make sure I'm reading books. Yours is on my list to get next, actually. So I'm always reading, researching, listening to podcasts. Your podcast is incredible for giving more information as well. So I think you can never stop learning. And I think as soon as you stop learning, you need to change careers, because you can always learn from somebody. I learn from everyone who comes on my class. It's amazing. But because I continue to educate myself, therefore, I think that's what makes my classes hopefully better, because I really have a passion for making sure they leave feeling empowered, and then really starting them off with talking about skin and the background behind skin and the histology. Because if you don't know about what an ingredient does and how it affects the skin, how can you talk about that product?
And that's what I don't think people will realise until you've went to multiple different trainings. But some people will just teach you what the product is. And some people will teach you about the ingredients, will teach you about the skin, will teach you much further into it. And that's what you have to look for when you're picking out a skincare, is actually the good training.
Definitely. And I think, so the way that we do ours, we'll always do a prerequisite webinar first, because if we might have different levels. You could have someone come in straight from college, and you could have someone who has got 20 years of experience. So they're on very different levels. So we always get everyone to do a prerequisite webinar first. So then it's almost like a slightly more even playing field. So at least if someone is straight out of college, they have got some of that knowledge first.
Yeah.
So that when we are talking about an antioxidant, a peptide, a retinol, they've already got that background knowledge, which is always really, really helpful. I always love to talk about skin while I'm talking about ingredients and products.
Yeah.
I find it very, very hard to stick to a schedule, because if someone asks a question, there's just never a yes/no answer. As you know, there's so many different answers that you can give, and I'm definitely not black and white. I love to give the whole grey area behind it as well, and be honest. Not everything is going to be great for somebody, and you just have to be honest in this industry as well.
And how do you think Image is going to develop product and ingredient wise?
Well, the team in the US, there's a big team all about innovation. So every year we release new products. We have a brand new launch. This year we launched 6 brand new SPFs, which are phenomenal. They're not just an SPF, they're a moisturiser with an SPF, and they protect you against UVA rays, UVB rays, blue light and pollution, and infrared. Okay. And the consistency just goes on your skin so, so beautifully. So that was this year's launch. Next year, unfortunately, my lips are sealed. I cannot give anything away. It's not worth my job. But I can promise you to stay tuned for March, April time next year. It's going to be really, really exciting.
And for some people that don't know Image, I know them from working from them, but talk me through some of the treatments, peel you have currently offered the clinics can take.
Yes. So the great thing with all of the treatments with Image, there is something for everybody, something for every therapist, but then also something for every client. And if you have quite a nervous client or someone who just wants to relax, then you can do a hands-on, we call them focus facials, because they're all bespoke to that client's needs. And that can be a little bit more relaxing. However, you can still give them results. Image is very, very results heavy and results driven. So that's a great starting point. And then you can take them on to the enzyme treatments. So the enzymes are just going to munch away the dead skin cells, but be fairly gentle on the skin. Don't be fooled, they do pack a bit of a punch as well. You can definitely feel some of that sensation on the skin, some of that tingling sensation. But the results are incredible, especially if you have got somebody who's just been having more of a typical fluffy facial, if you like. They're not ready to go to chemical peels. This is a great bridge in between them, and you are guaranteed that glow. I did the most amazing treatment yesterday using the signature facelift, and she didn't have major concerns on her skin. A little bit of old acne scarring, some dehydration, and just from one treatment, her skin just looked so much smoother, hydrated, plumper, and she's just starting her course of treatments. So you get pretty quick results, but as we know, to have a course of treatments is really going to give you the best results, and we perform our treatments every 2 weeks for a course of 6 to 8 treatments depending on someone's needs. But once they've experienced some enzyme treatments, then you can take them onto the chemical peels. And we have different levels of chemical peels as well. So we've got our low-level chemical peels, medium strength, and then we've got our self-neutralising higher chemical peel, which are not for everybody, but for somebody with more advanced concerns, maybe a thicker skin, deeper lines and wrinkles, pigmentation, acne scarring. The self-neutralising peels, they give you that little bit more downtime, but they give so much lift to the skin, and the results are just wow.
And what kind of acids are with the peels?
So we have a different combination. There's the Wrinkle Lift, which contains glycolic acid and retinol, and that's got a low level and a high level. We've got the lightning lift, which is lactic acid and kojic acid, low and high. And then we've got the acne lift, which is salicylic acid and glycolic acid. And I think that one's my favourite. If ever when you get, I don't know if you ever suffer with it, but nodules
the
underneath the
hormonal
skin,
stuff.
so awful. Skin home care just doesn't touch it. That acne lift just clears them so quickly. I'm obsessed with it.
And so how are you finding the clinics are developing with Image Skincare at the moment, that they're growing quite quickly, or they take time building confidence, or it's a great starter when you're first opening, or how are clinics finding the results from it and clients coming back?
I think if a clinic or business owner, whichever their business model is, I am finding that there's quite a few people who are nervous about doing chemical peels for whatever reason that is, or they find that their clients are nervous, so then it makes them nervous, or they think if you're going to have a chemical peel and you're really going to shed, you're going to be really red for days, you can't go outside. And that's not the case at all with our ones. But the great thing is, a lot of business owners will start with just the enzymes, and then they'll grow in confidence with that, and then they'll come back on a different class to do chemical peels. But with our chemical peels, because they're all in an aloe vera gel base, and because they're a gel, they're much easier to use, and they're very predictable on the skin as well, which is really nice. So if somebody is nervous, then they don't really need to be. So I think that really helps them getting really confident with the enzyme peels, and then they're comfortable to move on to the chemical peels. But we really coach them alongside using them as well. And we talk about, if you ever have an adverse reaction, what do you do? And of course, they can contact us anytime as well. So we really help them if anything was to go wrong, really, really unlikely, but how to prep that client's skin, how the whole journey of that treatment goes, and then how to look after their skin post-treatment as well. So it really is a journey, and we do take them on that journey as well to make sure they do feel really confident, because it's so important, isn't it? The last thing you want is to be in that treatment room thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What if this goes wrong? So yeah, we really do try and just make sure they feel confident and empowered with every step of that treatment.
And do you have any tips for people that are starting to open their own place now?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So many tips. So I have set up my own business as well. So I'm part-time with Image and then have my own business. And I think setting up my own business has definitely made me a better educator, because any new business owners that come in and they're talking about, it's not an easy thing to do, I fully understand it now, and it is really hard. But before I left today, actually, my mum gave me a quote. She said, quitters don't win and winners don't quit. So whatever you have decided to do in your new role, keep going with it. It's not going to be easy, but it's so worthwhile. It is so worthwhile. And the first time you make a sale for your own business, the first time you get a booking for your own business and you make your own money with that because of something you've done, it is the best feeling in the world, and you will never forget it. But listen to people's advice. There's some people that you just want to ignore, but do take advice from people who have got successful businesses, even if it's not in your industry, because if they've got a successful business, they know how to do things. So do take advice from all sorts of different people. And then one other bit of advice would be, if there's something you just can't do or get your head around, get someone else to do it. I am not a numbers person. That is the first thing I did when I set up my business, was get an accountant, because it sounds ridiculous, but I'm so nervous about getting anything wrong to do with tax and money. And I ended up in prison because I've done something wrong. Oh my goodness. So just get help from other people if there's something that you just can't do yourself, because there's a lot to do as a business owner, isn't there?
There's a lot, and you have to have multiple caps,
and
you're expected to know everything, and you can't know everything. Like,
Yeah.
I think you should have an idea about everything,
Yes.
so that, even because I've had accountants over the years that have done wrong. They haven't done it. They've made mistakes. They've made the wrong decisions, and I either have told them that, or we've been caught out with it, and it's got us in trouble because they've made the wrong decisions. So I think, as much as it's hard to do, unless you know someone that you can really trust, you should have an idea yourself about what's going on. Advertising, social media, you have to know a bit about everything, otherwise you're relying on someone else. And you can't trust that someone else's expertise is actually expert, because they might not know, or they might make a decision based on the experience that they've had before. So it's very difficult to, I think it's really hard to run a clinic or a salon properly, and to make sure that you have a good understanding of everything and do treatments and keep clients happy. It's hectic.
It is.
Definitely worthwhile. You never meet anyone, especially now in this skin industry, you never meet anyone that's like, I don't like it. Ever. I have, when I used to do massage, the therapist be like, I'm so dead. I'm wore out. I'm burnt out. I'm over it now. But skin, facials, aesthetics, people's results, it's so rewarding to actually be a therapist.
Absolutely. And when you get those results, it's just, you have to keep doing it, because it's so satisfying and rewarding as a therapist, as a skin specialist. And I always think, when I finish a treatment and then that client sits up, you're like, and it's not that you're surprised that the treatment's worked. It's just, it never gets old looking at that glowing skin. And then when they look in the mirror and they're so happy, and you're like, that's because I did that.
Exactly.
And you can't get old. It doesn't get old. But I think you're absolutely right as well. And whenever I hear people leave the industry to try something else, they always end up coming back.
Yeah.
Because it's just the best industry to be in.
Exactly. And how do you see where the industry will go now? What do you see developing in the future?
I think I've seen definitely a shift in education, and it's great now that you can do so much online. And I think it's brilliant because it makes it more accessible to more people, and it can make it more affordable in some cases as well. So I think that's brilliant. But I personally love that face-to-face. I think you can't beat face-to-face education and being in a room with other professionals, networking with other people. And I'd really like to see more of that, I think, because there are so many people who work on their own and it can be a bit lonely. So I think I'd really love to see more people coming together, creating more networking, more community, because I think there is a lot of people who can feel slightly lonely doing it on their own, or not knowing who to bounce ideas off. So I think really creating more community and spaces for particularly the people who do work on their own, I think would be a really, really nice thing that could be done.
It is difficult when you don't have someone to turn to. But people are lucky because there's so much online now. There's so many groups that sometimes not the best advice, but sometimes great to fall back on. So it is, but you're right, there has to be more. So out in India, I see that people could be in direct competition with each other and they still work together. They still recommend each other. They still, like, it's very, very, obviously there's a lot more people, so there's a lot more business, but it's very much like everyone hangs out together, everyone socializes together, everyone, it's very more working together, rather than what we have in the UK at the moment is a little bit of competitiveness, of distance. And that's why we get lonely, is because we keep that distance to just do our own thing and be on our own path. And I think that has a lot to do with lockdown and being separated and stuff like that. Whereas hopefully in the future, it'll start to revert.
That's so interesting that you really noticed that difference as well.
Massively.
Wow. So we need to bring more of that.
Yeah, exactly.
What has been your biggest success that you are most proud of, and how did you get to that point?
Skin Science book overwhelms me so it started from, I was teaching laser hair removal level 4 in London, and there was no such thing as anything teaching for peels or needling. And I brought in this course to teach more in depth about skin, called the Advanced Skin course. And this was 2000, and it would have been 13. And I brought in Advanced Skin course. There was nothing. And I finished that course at 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday evening when I was teaching it in Dublin, when I was teaching it in London on Sunday morning. And so at 2 o'clock, I finished, went to bed for a couple of hours, got a flight over and taught it. The first class I taught it to, at the time I didn't know it, was another training school. They had 4 teachers on the course and themselves. That was the first class that I taught to.
Yes.
Because there was nothing like it. So they wanted it. And actually, it was funny when a couple of days after the course, I got an email from the Sky from something like Freelancer that was like, this digital copy has been uploaded and they're putting out quotes for someone who will rewrite it, just to let you know because your details are on it. Because it was, I used to call Skin Philosophy Advanced because that's the first name I came up for the school. And he was like, advanced beauty training. The website was on the bottom, and he said, I just thought I'd let you know. And it was from the school. They'd uploaded it onto a freelancer website to get someone to rewrite it. And I've seen it multiple times. The layout of that manual then was very specific, very specific. So I've seen the exact same come up multiple different areas where you're going, that's my image, and just in the middle, multiple areas. But so that was 2013, and I released the book last year. So since then, I added to it, I added more. And during lockdown, because from the advanced skincare course, I got the advanced skincare book. And I looked at the book and I was like, I don't like it. It's what everybody, I want better, I want more. And so during lockdown, I started rewriting it. And then when I'd have stages, I'd just keep coming back to it. But it's over 300 pages of A4 pages of just blind knowledge. And it is definitely, it's something where when you lose confidence in yourself or you have a bad week, you look at it and go, I know my shit. I definitely know my shit. So that definitely was my biggest thing. Definitely, without a doubt.
That is amazing. And I think to write a book is one thing, but to write a book on skin science is incredible.
And what I found was when I was adding in the information, it was becoming too much and too technical. And it was like, right, but how do you refer this back to our everyday living? And it was maybe 3 weeks before our launch. And I said to Lauren, because Lauren was managing the project at the time, I said to Lauren, I think that I'm going to make changes. I think it's not right. And she was like, Jesus Christ, please stop. The designer is going to have a heart attack if you change it. I was like, no, I need to add in. And so I started adding in quotes, parts into it. Say, if you're talking about this and this. So as a therapist, you need to remember this when doing a consultation form. Because you have the end thing. But it's so much information. You go, but what is this telling me? And it's like, if you're speaking to a person, you must remember this because this will be part of the treatment plan. Yeah. So doing that really helped because it's very hard to get that medium of enough information that is satisfying, but not too much that it becomes boring. And it's a very fine line. And no, I think we did that.
Oh my goodness, I'm leaving here and buying it. I cannot wait to look at it. I don't know why I haven't even got it yet.
But it's the same thing because you hear stuff coming up the whole time. But I know myself, I know without a shadow of a doubt that there's nothing as in-depth but as simple that is properly knowledgeable but without making it complicated.
Oh, amazing. Well done.
Thanks.
That is such a huge accomplishment,
Thanks.
Isn't it? Love it. My other question for you is, how do you look after yourself with self-care?
I don't. Opening in India has been absolutely bloody stressful and I have stopped working out. I've gone maybe a couple of times in the last 6 months, but that's it. I've been really bad and I'm telling you what, you really notice it. There's such a difference between looking after yourself and not looking after yourself. I just don't have the same energy levels, same concentration levels, same memory levels. It's everything. So I've started slowly, and now this time when I'm going back to India, I'm going to get back into the exercise as well, but started slowly of a little bit of meditation in the morning, turmeric with water in the morning for anti-inflammatory, little things like that. I've read a book in the last couple of weeks, which I haven't done for a long while. Simple things like that I like to do, but I am terrible for burning at both ends and then reaching a stage and going, right, you need to actually look after yourself. It is really, really important. You can't maintain yourself. And I think we don't get how we have to keep our mental health in check to be the best of ourselves. And not only are we not, but we're not serving ourselves by not looking after ourselves properly. We're not being our best self. So if you want to be a businesswoman, if you want to be successful, if you want to be top of your game, you have to look after yourself.
So true. I had quite a severe panic attack a couple of months ago. I was actually teaching at the time, and that's never happened during a class. And then it really made me stop. I took some days off and just look at myself and see what was going on. What was this all about? Because I thought I was all right. But it was exactly that. I hadn't been making enough time for myself. I hadn't been doing certain things that I know keep me sane and help my mental health. But since then, sometimes you do need those eye moments, don't you? And now I'm so good. I make sure there's certain things that I do each week. Reformer Pilates.
Oh, amazing.
How good is that?
Oh, I love it. And you just feel like you're like, I can feel from not doing it, my muscles tightening in, and you just feel like stretched out properly because the weights with it and everything really make you actually work properly.
That is my favourite exercise I've ever done, and I love it. And I don't get bored, because I can get bored quite easily. I'm bored with that. I think that is just the best thing ever. And something else I've tried recently is breathing, which I know sounds really simple, but I've been doing breathing practices with a coach, and the difference to my mood, my whole body, everything, I cannot believe the difference in my like mentally.
Yeah. My breathing is terrible. I was a smoker for years, so my breathing is absolutely terrible. And I keep a shallow breath, and I have to, so I know but I have seen so much about that lately. It's really interesting. I have to say, the meditation, see, just doing 10 minutes in the morning and just thinking in your head what you want your day to look like, what your goals are. That really focuses your brain and calms your mind in the morning, because we too often reach for the phone. That's a terrible thing.
I've stopped doing that.
Have you?
I will not look at my phone for about half an hour being up, just so I can actually think for myself rather than see what someone else is telling me.
It's so hard to keep, because that's why I won't be fake and go, oh yeah, I do this, this and this. I do those things when I'm in a good state of mind, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm absolutely terrible, and this is one of the stages I'm terrible, and I'm like, oh, I'll just be terrible and then I'll get better again. That's it. Because if you beat yourself up about being terrible and don't change it, that will get in your head.
Absolutely. And then it's harder to change anything, because you're like, oh, I'm so useless anyway.
God, everything is about mental health. Everything is about how you talk to yourself,
isn't it?
Yeah. But this is the thing, is as therapists, we're constantly coming into contact with people who themselves are suffering with, and we get offloaded and they speak to us. So we need to keep ourselves strong, because they actually lean on us quite a lot during facials, letting off about their husbands and blah, blah, blah. It's an offload for them, and we'll absorb that without even realising. So it's making sure to get rid of that and not take it on board.
Yeah, definitely. Easier said than done sometimes. But it is, you're absolutely right, so important.
Well, thank you so much, Charlene, for coming in and for the great chat. It was lovely having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved this.
It's good to get to talk to people in the industry about stuff.
I've loved it. Thank you.
Thank you.